Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining me from. And this is Catherine Gallagher, and you're joining CMG Talk. So some of my talks have been on topics that are fairly heavy. And I've been talking about loneliness, I've done an introduction, I've done other talks elsewhere, but here I've been focusing on topics that I feel are quite topical just now. And I don't avoid the hard subjects. So loneliness I thought was really important, and I thought it was also important to address some issues about money, and budgeting. And I've also touched on some topics, and I did a relaxation because I thought that was important. But I think it's also important to talk about joy and gratitudes, because we get more of what we focus on, even at adversity. And I shared in my introduction that a long time ago, I did a trip out to a war zone during the 1990s, and in my nursing and in that particular humanitarian trip, and throughout my career, I've saw people, and I've experienced hardships myself, but I've also saw people come to me that have went through the most difficult times. And when you've had challenges yourself and you've gone through difficult times, and when people have come to me through difficult times, they'll often talk to me about the things that also they can see that they've gained. And the small things they notice along the way that have given them a lift emotionally, that have given them joy or pleasure, or that have made them feel hopeful. Because as human beings, we need to feel hope and purpose. And we need to feel there's a sense at some point that we can gain and regain some autonomy and some control. And if you look at how we do that, one of the most important things I'll often talk about is having a mindful purpose and direction. So how do we do that? Well, really, to be able to get some kind of direction, ideally, our brain processes the written and the thinking word differently. So often people will start, either they'll dictate their thoughts, they'll write down their thoughts in a journal or a reflective journal or a gratitude book. They'll start processing not just the things that are hard and difficult, they'll also look at the things that have gone along the way that they've either managed to deal with well, or the things that they've noticed that have worked out well, or the things that have spontaneously happened that they've smiled, they've laughed, or they've had enjoyment from. Because when we give thanks, and when we find enjoyment or pleasure, or when we feel that there are things that give us a release and release those natural chemicals that make us feel good, the serotonins, the oxytocins, the dopamine rewards, our daily dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, GABA, we were learning. When we have these different natural chemicals that make us feel good released, and we focus on these being released, they actually give us a sense of well-being. So what kind of things can we do in our life that keep us in a good mindset, or help us when we're feeling challenges and struggling? What kind of things do we do that can help us? We know that if we smile, even if we're not feeling it, we know if we smile, it still releases chemicals that make us feel good. We also know that if we choose to let in certain things and then acknowledge and pay attention to certain things. For instance, I was out the other day and I met my nephew. He was out walking his dog, and he has this beautiful, the family have this beautiful Labradoodle, right? Now she's supposed to be a guard dog initially. No, she would lick you, right? Rather than anything else. But she has the most beautiful temperament, and she happens to think I'm the best thing ever, right? She's one of my biggest fans, let me put it that way, right? She thinks I'm the bee's knees, as you say. And whenever she sees me, I'm the height of nothing, right? I'm 5 feet, right? And she's very tall when she stands. Whenever she sees me, she jumps towards me and she just gets so excited, right? So, of course, I'm coming out my car because I was in my car and I parked, obviously. And I was coming out the car, and I saw him coming round, and he was like, hi. And I was like, hi. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I could just see her getting so excited. And I was like, don't let her jump, don't let her jump. And he was laughing because every time she jumps on me, I feel as if I'm going to go whoop and fall over. And it just makes me laugh. And I always have to go, don't jump, sit down, don't jump. Don't jump. But it just brings a smile to my face. Right? When you see that unconditional acceptance, right? When you have an animal, that just loves you. Animals do that, don't they? Particularly dogs, right? They love you unconditionally, right? And she does, right? She just thinks I'm the best thing ever. Obviously, she loves her family too, right? Probably more so, but she just accepts me the way I am, and I love her to bits, right? So that makes me smile. What other things make you smile, right? I know that if I'm out and I see like a baby or a child or, spontaneously doing something, they laugh or they giggle, I can't help laughing and giggling back. And I'm sure many people will listen to this and go, yeah, I'm the same too. Even if it's not your own, right? They'll sometimes, out of the mouths of babes, as you say, they're very honest and very spontaneous. And they'll say things to you and you kind of go, okay, right. But what things give you a sense of joy? What things make you laugh or smile? Because we know when we laugh and smile, it does change our brain, our mood, and lifts us if we allow it in. It might be a good conversation, right? It might be a release where somebody has a conversation where it just makes us feel as if we're not alone, or we've shared something that we then feel a bit more confident about. It might be that you've watched something. I remember getting, it was a comedy script. I won't say who it was because that probably wouldn't be right. I got a comedy script, right, to watch with some of the kids, and I thought it would be really funny. And it just shows you my age, right? So I just sat there, and I don't care. I love getting older, and I'm honestly being honest about that. I do actually love getting older. I never wish I was younger, right? Because I think the age you are, you should always welcome and enjoy it, right? And I was like, right, okay, we're going to watch this because it's really funny. And it just reminds you that different generations and different ages have different ways of looking at things. And while I was howling with laughter through this, I could see them looking at me, these children, going, what are you laughing at? That's not funny. And then they put something on, and I was kind of looking at them and going, and they were howling with laughter. And I thought, okay, each to their own, right? It just shows you different things will make us laugh. For instance, I'm Scottish. You can probably tell from my accent. Every year for years, we watch things, a script called Scotch and Rye, right? Scotch and Rye. And it was something that many, many Scots would watch. And I don't know whether it would be particularly received now, but you would watch it, and it was called The Reverend I Am Jolly, right? I am jolly, right? And he would start off with, hello. And the minute he would just say that, people would fall around with laughter, right? You're all going to run around and watch this now and think, what's she laughing at? But there's some things that people can do and say that instantly break the ice or instantly make you laugh. because it either fills you up with a sense of it's something that takes you back to a time where it just, warms you up, or it's something that just makes you feel at home, right? Whether it's Abbott and Costello, or whether it's, a particular comedian that you really like, or, whatever it is, right? You can watch it. It might be a film, a comedy film, or it might be a comedian, or it might be you're doing games with family and you end up laughing. But when you're in that place where you have, that real belly laugh, where the tears are rolling down your face, right? I was talking to somebody not so long ago, and they had phoned me to see if I would meet for coffee. And I was like, no, I couldn't meet them for coffee right now. And they said, but remember when we did? And they started laughing, and I was laughing too, because we were remembering that moment that we shared that was quite funny. They thought I was particularly funny. I can be quite funny, apparently, right? And I use laughter a lot. Ask my clients. I do use it appropriately, though. I do use laughter a lot, because laughter, say laughter is the best medicine. It may not be the best, but it's certainly very useful, right? And it's very important to introduce, laughter in our life if we have maybe not welcomed it in our life for a long time. Often we tend to get very serious about things, and we forget that there can be a release and a relief, because there are other things that we can focus on. We get more of what we focus on. I wonder, as I'm talking about these examples that are familiar to me, or examples that I think about, and I wonder if they're examples that you would look at. Sometimes we talk about things that are passionate, that really give us a sense of lifting our mood. And it might be that if you're particularly sports orientated, you might think about a sports moment where you're lifted and you feel absolute joy and excitement about it, and you're really elated with it. It might be that you're thinking about a particular family occasion where you would be laughing at it. And sometimes, and laughing with someone and at someone are very different things, people. And I always make the difference to someone. I'm laughing with you. I'm not laughing at you. Because laughing at someone when it's at their expense kind of isn't really nice. But if you're laughing with someone, right, that's a different thing, right? You're not mocking them. But think about the events, the situations, the times where you've had enjoyment. See, our brain doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. And we can easily be transported back. That's when I did that 5-minute relaxation exercise. I could do 50 minutes, but that's quite a long time to do meditation and relaxation. But you can do where you actually transport yourself. And I could go into lots of detail about, imagine you're on a beach and you're with people, but they're in the distance. And as you look down the beach, you see some children playing in the background, and their parents are there, and you can hear them laughing, giggling, enjoyment, playing, splashing in the water. And as you see the water gently lapping, it's quite enticing. And you think to yourself, should I get up? And should I walk down slowly towards the sea? Because the sun is out and the water might be just the right temperature. And as I'm walking down towards the sea, I feel the sand beneath me. Oh, it's quite hot. Oh, I maybe need to speed up a bit. And as I move quicker towards the sea, I suddenly find my feet inside with the water surrounding. and I'm splashing in the water. And then suddenly I notice I'm back. And as we sit and we think about and imagine what it would be like to be there with the sun in our face and the warmth and the relaxation, and what it would be like for somebody to then come and splash you, and suddenly you're wet, and then suddenly you hear people around you laughing and finding that really funny, and you're like, I'm soaking wet, why did you wet me? And they go, because it was fun. You see, we can imagine if we want to, because our brain is so vivid, and if we ask it to, it will take us to a beach or a beautiful scenery of a forest where you're walking down and there's leaves beneath you and there's a calm breeze. I could do this all day. I love doing things like this. I do this a lot, right? And as you're imagining, you can imagine what it'd be like to be sitting in a comedy, right? Where you're having the best fun and you're having the most laughter and you've got this bellyache. You're hurting so much from laughing so much and the tears are streaming down your face and you can't stop laughing and your jaw, your cheeks are really, really sore and oh my goodness. And every time you look at someone next to you, you go, don't make me laugh anymore. It's hurting so much. I'm laughing so much. But it's so much fun. And then when you come out, you're saying to the people with you, wasn't that really, really funny? What would you be laughing at? What would you be laughing about? Have you ever been to somewhere where you have laughed so much thinking about a conversation? A good conversation, a good comedy, a film, a movie, a comedy script. Watched a film, watched a comedy script. Anything that makes you laugh. When we think about it, our brain transports us there. So whenever you're feeling you're struggling, whenever you're feeling you're really, really having a difficult time, stop and think about and give your brain that time out. And notice and pay attention as you go through your day, the things you can feel grateful for. Pay attention. I have trained myself to pay attention to the things that work for me. And I make a point of sending and appreciations and gratitudes. I've just sent out appreciations and gratitudes for the organisations that work with me and that I've provided work for. Because that matters. That matters. And it's nice to say thank you and have people say thank you back. Isn't it? We all want to feel appreciated. We want to feel noticed. None of us want to feel invisible. How hard is it to say thank you? How hard is it to have a door open for you or to open the door for someone? Right? It's just nice, isn't it? I was getting some shopping yesterday, messages, as you say in Scotland. And as I was queuing with my shopping, my messages, I was having a conversation. This man was talking to me about how this was the regular time I would get my messages and it was for him too, and how it usually was so quiet and how it was like everybody had decided to get the shopping at the same time. It took about 3 times longer to get through the queue because everybody had decided this was the time. Well, everybody, but it felt like it. And we were just having this conversation and he was telling me about his wife and his daughter, and his daughter was texting him to get, can you get me this, can you get me that? And he's like, no, because I'm in the queue. I'm not moving. That's what happens. And we were laughing about, just general conversations. And he said, this is passing the time for me. And we were talking about, wouldn't it be nice if we had music going, maybe not Christmas music, maybe Christmas music, I don't know. But it was just this silence, and everybody was just noticing these trolleys everywhere. And people were like, this is so busy. And I was like, I'll be busier later, folks. This is probably the best time, because it's quite early. Noticing the things that work for you. Like when you get through a traffic light, maybe not safely, but safely is good. When you get through a traffic light quicker, or when, you get parked, there's a parking spot. Yay, I've got parked. Just notice the simple things. Or when somebody smells and says hello to you and you're like, oh, thanks, that's really nice. Anything that really works for you, whether it's a work thing that's worked for you, whether it's, had a really nice time with someone, a conversation, or you've received something that has been a nice surprise, a nice acknowledgement, a nice message, a nice text, whether you've received something work-related, whatever it is, stop, acknowledge it and appreciate it, because that will make you feel good and it will actually give you nice chemical releases that will make you feel good, natural releases. Simple things help us along the way. It's too easy, and we're programmed really to actually pick up on and notice the negatives, and we can get very, very programmed to stick with negatives. And then it becomes that we're entrenched in just what's not working, what isn't working, what hasn't worked, will it ever work? And we create these patterns of thoughts. It becomes very toxic and very unhelpful for us. If we break that cycle and we start creating better ways of thinking, it works better for us. And we start feeling stronger, more focused. We start feeling that we have, and we're our own best champion. We're actually working for ourselves, we're encouraging ourselves and motivating ourselves. We feel more purposeful. And even if things don't necessarily work, it's like, that's okay, that happens. I can deal with this, because we're not sticking with the negative thoughts. We're turning them around, we're reframing them. We understand bad things happen to good people, but I can turn this around, I can manage this. It's a balance, isn't it? We've talked about this in other sessions. It's all about getting the balance. Remember though, you deserve to feel happiness, and all feelings, they come and go. People will say to me sometimes when they come to my clinical practice, I just want to feel happy all the time. Most of us will not feel happy all the time, right? We might have a life full which is majority of happiness, but a lot of us will struggle, we'll have ups and downs. It's what we do with the negative thoughts. It's what we do with the challenges. It's what we do when things aren't necessarily working. We're supposed to have struggles and challenges so we grow, we learn and we improve and develop. That's part of being human. That's part of being human. So think about, do you have enough in your life? Are you focusing enough on what is working? Have you wrote down a list of your gratitudes? Are you reflecting on the things that you appreciate? Do you make a point each day to notice, to mark each day what is working, what has worked? Why not do that? Why not notice these things and check them as you go along? Why get parked? Right? Oh, that's great. I don't have to worry about getting messages. I gained back some time and I managed to get my shopping earlier. That's great. I'm so pleased about that. Right? Oh, I thought I was going to run out of petrol. Oh no, I've got enough petrol to get to that place. Right? Oh, I get paid early. Yay, I get paid early. Whatever it is, retrain your brain to start noticing and being aware of the things that are working for you, the things that you can notice and appreciate. Oh, I got that really nice contact from that friend I haven't heard or spoke to. Wasn't that great? I bumped into that person. That's made me feel so good. Oh, I got an invitation to somewhere I never expected to. I feel so appreciative and so grateful. Whatever it is, start noticing and appreciating these more regularly, more often. And if you do it every time something happens, it becomes that's what we do. Our brain then starts forming these patterns. This is what we do. This is how we manage to build up our sense of purpose and hope. And we start gratitudes. We start feeling that we are more in tune with what's working rather than dismissing the positives all the time. We start noticing. And then when things aren't working, we're more able to deal with it, more resilient, because we have more self-belief, more confidence, and more ability. So, gratitudes, working on those emotions and those feelings that were within that spectrum. Really good to talk with you. Thanks for joining me today, and let's be joyful, happy and optimistic in these spectrums and working on these. Take good care, and thanks for joining me. This is CMG Talk, Catherine Gallagher. Speak to you soon. Remember, if you want me to talk on anything, if you're enjoying these, please follow me and please download and share and let other people know about the podcast. This is Catherine Gallagher, CMG Talk, and if you want to message me about a particular topic you would like me to talk on, or if you want me to talk about something about you, and I can keep you confidential if you want, or obviously I can mention you, that would be absolutely brilliant. So it's Catherine Gallagher, stepupcmg at xln.co.uk. All you have to do in the subject is confidential or mention me and tell me what it's about, and let's get talking. Speak to you soon. Take good care.